This is Listen Up Homebuyers. I'm Victoria Ray Henderson, the host. I'm so happy to have Jeremy Manning back today to talk about what's happening in the market. Now, the market is shifting a bit, and it's difficult for homebuyers to really get a handle on how the market is going to impact a buyer. So, Jeremy Manning, who is an exclusive buyer agent with Homebuyer Brokerage, as well as having a background as an appraiser, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks, Victoria. Thanks for letting me come back and talk to you.
Let's talk a little bit about what is happening right now in the market. I would say, from my opinion, from working with people in many of the counties around Washington, D.C., including in Virginia and Maryland, that it is not a buyer's market. Some areas, homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer. That's called days on the market or continuous days on the market. And when that happens, we do have a little more power, but I wouldn't say it's there 100%. Now, what are your thoughts?
I think you're probably right. And there is some data to back up what you're saying. Here is a chart that shows almost 10 years worth of data. So I wanted to go prior to COVID to kind of
Yeah.
see what normal looked like, and then post COVID to see how things have changed. That's an unfortunate dividing point that everybody looks at. This chart begins, it's showing the number of units listed in blue and the number of units sold. And this is in Fairfax County and Fairfax City grouped together, and it's everything. Yeah, it's condos, townhouses, single family homes. And it's just showing what the relationship is between the number of units that get thrown on the market and the number of units that get picked up each year. And it shows also how the cycle works. So you'll see
Mhm.
here where there's a peak, this is the beginning of spring. The sales peak, that's the end of spring or beginning of summer. And you can see that each year there's this constant up and down cycle. That's normal.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be until you get to 2020 and the cycle gets interrupted, and we all know
Mhm.
why, pandemic and all that, but the listings were nowhere near where they had been
Right.
previous years, and the sales stayed exactly the same. And so you've got this buildup of demand. You've got a buildup of demand, and that demand just increases in 2021, and it stays about the same in 2022. And you can see right here is when interest rates went up. And
Mhm.
all the people who have those low interest rates are gonna sit in their houses and hold on to them, and buyers just can't get anything, and that's because there's very little, that's been put on the market, but the number of sales is still really high in
Mhm.
comparison to the number of listings.
Mhm.
That shows in the inventory. This is months
Mhm.
of inventory during that same period of time.
Mm.
So a healthy market has between 3 to 6 months of inventory available. And that's where we were at the beginning of this period in 2016, 2017, and in 2018, we're starting to see some pressure. All these years, you see pressure going upward. That's making it so there's less inventory. And then 2019, it's really before COVID, we just hit this absolute dearth of inventory. There's nothing available. You've
Mhm.
got less than 2 months of inventory available, and that goes until this year
Yeah.
when we do see a slight bump. Now, if we consider 16, 17, and 18, maybe a market where the buyer has a little more leverage, what we're seeing now is not a buyer's market. What we're seeing now is kind of a stabilization or maybe attempt to return to normal. Now, there are other things that could be affecting this. We just got out of the longest government shutdown that we've ever seen. And that would have panned out probably starting after this reporting period, but maybe right in the middle of it. So
Yeah.
there are factors here that we need to take into consideration, but those are important things. Finally, and this is the key that demonstrates what you were saying. If you look at sold prices, this is not where listings were. This is what people are actually paying for property
Mhm.
during the same period of time. There is no slowdown in growth. So if anything, I think buyers might have a little more leverage on the negotiations that they can put into their contracts, maybe throw in some more contingencies, things like
Mhm.
that. But
Mhm.
I don't think you're going to get a break on price right now.
Yeah, that is true. I would say that the chart you just showed from Fairfax County and Fairfax City pretty much mirrors what's been happening around the Washington, D.C. metro area. I've noticed that we are able to put in and hold on to more contingencies to protect the home buyer. Just to be clear, we never recommend waiving a home inspection. There are ways that you can do a home inspection that you could make your offer not contingent on the home inspection, but it's really important that you make sure that if you're making the biggest investment that you're going to make, you're going to have that home inspected so you have an understanding of at least what you're getting into, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
I think, yeah, there might be a little room. There's probably more room for negotiating on those and possibly some contingencies. With things leveling off, I think that appraisal issues are not going to be a huge concern, at least for the next few months. I think appraisers are always stuck on what happened 3 to 6 months ago. And that's really where market values in an appraisal come out because they're based on sales. They're not based on current market conditions as of right now today. There's always going to be a little bit of lag time. If you were to ask for some sort of a seller subsidy, that
mhm,
really wouldn't be out of line now, primarily
mhm,
just because there's a little more inventory.
right,
There's a little more supply available to the demand, which
right.
it's not driving price down yet. I think it will if this trend continues, but we're not guaranteed of anything right now.
Right. In the spring, when there's more competition,
Yeah.
and the market is going to obviously have the data from this fall, 2025, do you see a possibility that there could be appraisal issues?
I'm assuming the trend keeps going the way that it is. I really don't. I think if that's the case and prices that houses sell are starting to level off,
Mhm.
I think that appraisers are gonna be working on the older data where values are higher. They might still be making market time adjustments, which is an adjustment to a sale price where you've got a sale that's 3 months old. You need to adjust it up because the market's changed since that sale. So if you wanna
Mhm.
compare the value of a property today to what the sale price of a property was in March, you've gotta make an adjustment for that.
Got
And
it.
I think that there won't be enough evidence for appraisers yet to say that they don't have to make those adjustments anymore because
Mhm.
they can only base things on the evidence that's available.
Mhm.
But I think in a lot of cases, you're gonna see a lot fewer appraisal problems while the market levels off
Yeah.
than we've seen in the past where appraisers are just trying to keep up with sale prices and they're not able to because there's not any evidence to support it. And I think, yeah, for the appraisers, things are gonna be a little bit easier. That's a rare thing that an appraiser ever gets to say is that maybe things will
Mhm.
be easier in the next few months.
There are many options when you're putting an offer together. And so when you're sitting down with an exclusive buyer's agent, you'll want to talk about what you can do regarding the appraisal contingency. Some of the people who have quite a bit of cash can waive it. Some people could do a partial waive. Some people will use an escalation clause to get and to a cap and to do that partial appraisal waive. All of these things are options, but they need to be thoroughly discussed and understood by the buyer. I often explain it like perfect timing because we're coming up on Thanksgiving. If there's a buffet table of options and everything is on the table, what options are going to serve you best? What are the
Mhm.
best things you can put on your plate that are going to nourish you and take care of you, but not be excessive and make you feel like it's out of your range? So maybe that was too much of a food analogy,
No, I like it.
but, you know, but the truth is, it is that way. So while you have somebody who can explain these options, you ultimately make the decision of how you want to use those options in your offer.
I agree. Yeah, I think any buyer who has the advantage of somebody knowledgeable helping them is going to be in a better position than somebody who tries to go at it themselves, not only from
Mhm.
a perspective of knowing where values should be, but also just understanding what to look for in a house. I've been a buyer. I've fallen in love with the first house that I looked at and then
Yeah.
had it pointed out to me what all the problems are. Yeah, if you don't have somebody who's experienced helping you through that process, you can make some big mistakes. Buyer
Mhm.
remorse is not, it's a real thing and it's a big problem.
Jeremy Manning is an exclusive buyer's agent with Homebuyer Brokerage. He has a background as an appraiser. Jeremy, as always, it is such a pleasure to have you on Listen Up Homebuyers. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, Victoria. It was really fun.